Welcome to The Explainer, where we love to break down big ideas. Today, we're diving into something pretty profound. How does an idea like God's love move from just being something you know in your head to something you actually feel in your heart? We're going to explore a framework for that, all based on our source material.
All right, let's jump right in. The source material kicks things off with the central idea of a love that is, well, it's powerful. It's a transformative force. We're not talking about something that just kind of suggests change. No, this is a love that actively causes it.
And look at this quote right from the source. It describes this love as an agent. I love that word. It's like a tool, something God actively uses to get stuff done inside of us, to kick sin out of the heart, to turn pride into humility and unbelief into faith. So the big takeaway here, this love isn't just sitting there. It's not passive. It is an active force for some serious internal change. Okay, so right away, this brings up a huge, very practical question, right? If this love is so powerful, how do you get it? How does a person go from just, knowing about it in their head to actually experiencing it, to feeling it in a real, tangible way? How does something this big become part of your actual life?
Well, to answer that, the text first points out a common trap. It's an approach a lot of people take, but the source argues it's completely flawed. They call it the outside-in approach.
So what does that mean? It's described as building your spiritual life on a brittle foundation of self-centered motivation. Think about it. On the outside, everything looks great. The person seems strong. They're following all the rules, checking all the boxes. But on the inside, because the motivation is off, the whole thing is ready to crumble. It's this whole game of trying to be good enough through sheer willpower, which the text says just leads to frustration because it never actually changes what you want deep down.
And this slide really breaks down that contrast. It's so crucial. On one side, you've got motivation by law. This is all about the shoulds and should nots. The focus, it's really self-interest, right? Escaping hell, getting into heaven. And the result, the text says, is that you're secretly weak inside. But then look at the other side, motivation by love. This is based on grace. The focus shifts completely to Christ's love. And the goal isn't a reward, it's a genuinely changed heart. And what does that lead to? Real inner strength. Okay, so if that whole outside-in, rule-following thing is a dead end, then how does this love get to where it needs to go? How does it actually make that journey into our hearts? Well, our source material suggests it needs to find the right road, the right channel to travel through. And I love this metaphor it uses. Everything with a destination has its medium of transit. It's so simple but so profound. Think about it. Water needs a riverbed to become a river. Cars need a highway to get across the country. Every single thing that's going somewhere needs a way to get there. It's such a brilliant way to think about how an abstract idea can reach a very real destination. And this is where it all clicks into place. The core argument is that God's love is no different. It has a destination, the human heart. So what's its highway? What's the riverbed for this love? Well, it's not our actions. It's not how well we follow the rules. According to the text, the medium is the mind's capacity for perception and comprehension. Let that sink in. The path for this love to get to your heart is actually through your understanding. So that brings us to the how-to, right? The practical part. The text actually boils this whole journey of understanding down into a really clear, actionable framework. You can almost think of it as a formula for how to experience this love. And here it is, 4 steps. But the sequence here is everything. Pay attention to this. Step 1 is not do something. It's beholding the cross. From there, that beholding leads to comprehension. And when you comprehend it, that awakens gratitude in your heart. And only then, as the very last step, does that love inspire a willing obedience. See that? The action, the obedience, it comes at the end. It's the result, not the cause. But what does that even mean to behold something? It sounds a little old-fashioned, right? Well, the source gives us a very specific definition. This is not just a quick glance. It's the deliberate action of the mind. It's choosing to focus, to meditate, to really dwell on something for one reason, to truly, deeply understand it. So it's not passive at all. It's a very active, very intentional mental workout. So the logic is like a chain reaction, a set of dominoes. First, you deliberately focus your mind on the character of God, which the text says is best seen at the cross. When you do that, it argues, these deep impressions of love and goodness get stamped onto your mind. And then those impressions travel that highway we talked about, from the mind down into the heart. And that's what causes the transformation. It's a natural process. So what's the big payoff?
What's the end result of this whole internal journey? Why does it even matter if it's outside in or inside out? Well, the text says it leads to this huge, fundamental, and honestly liberating shift in how you see everything. It completely changes what it feels like to live for God. Suddenly, it's not this confining duty, right? It's not a chore you have to do to get a reward or to stay out of trouble. Instead, it becomes what the text calls a liberating privilege. It's this joyful, willing response that just bubbles up naturally from a love that you finally understood and really, truly felt.
And that leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. It's a question that really sums up this whole entire framework. What if the most profound spiritual experiences we can have don't start with what we do, but with what we choose to understand? The source is basically suggesting that the real key, the secret to a transformed life, it's all about where we deliberately choose to focus our minds.